Welcome. My name is Athena. I'll be assisting and leading our Sunday service portion this morning. A little bit about Sanctuary Church for those who may not have joined us before. Sanctuary is a 508c1a faith-based organization. We use psilocybin mushrooms as a sacrament to connect us to divinity. It is our sincere belief that the consumption of psilocybin-containing mushrooms is a communion, which brings us closer to what is commonly called God. We understand this concept as pure consciousness, which permeates all being. This pure consciousness is, we believe, the ineffable source of creation and the origin of health and well-being. Our faith in sacred mushrooms stems from prehistorical use by our ancestors and personal experiences of our modern members. It is our belief that psilocybin-containing mushrooms are one of the greatest sacraments that nature offers, raising our awareness so that we can access a direct connection to the source of life. We should not be mistaken for a medical or therapeutic organization. We encourage anyone facing trauma recovery or mental health issues to work in conjunction with a psychiatrist, psychologist, or accredited therapist. Our objective is to help and support you in reconnecting with the universal source of healing, your own divine spirit. As we get ready to begin today's service, we ask that you mute your mics if they are not muted already. We want to let you know this meeting is being recorded, which if you have any questions about, feel free to reach out privately. A portion of this service, we will invite you to journal. So now's a good time to grab a notebook and pen if you'd like to participate in that. And please do, if possible for you, find a comfortable space where you can relax and be present for the service. The service portion of our gathering is around 30 minutes of silent participation on your part, during which time we'll begin with a short meditation. We'll read the poem which the church has adopted as our acknowledgement of oneness with all that is, titled A Litany of Gratitude. A reading from a rotating text, along with an opportunity to journal your thoughts around the reading. A reading from our main text, the Tao Te Ching, and after that, we'll bring the official service to a close, and from there, move into our optional discussion period, which today is a special presentation by our board members, Eric, Courtney, and Amy. So we've allowed 90 minutes until this portion, until noon Eastern, and do invite you to participate if you feel called. With that, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining our sanctuary community and celebration. As we begin our statement of faith, we recognize that this statement does not exhaust the full extent of our faith. We believe that sacred mushrooms are a primary source of personal and divine revelation. We seek counsel from the mushroom to find direction and inspiration in our faith practice. And we believe that all individuals who seek true revelation from divinity can do so. I invite Christine to help us with our meditation this morning.
Good morning, everyone. I invite you to check in with your body right now and see that you're in a comfortable place, sitting, standing, or lying down. And this morning, we're going to take this time to connect with our breath. So gently bring your awareness into your breath. Just noticing the rise and fall of your breath. And especially noticing as you draw your breath in, how natural it is, how it flows. Notice your breath coming in and going out. Coming into awareness with your breath in this way might help you notice any areas of tension. And so you can bring your breath into those areas in particular. And we'll just sit here for a minute in the flow of our breath together, each of us individually, all of us collectively. And you might be noticing sensations in your body as you notice your breath. Begin to feel into or notice the space around you. Bringing your awareness to this beautiful circle, all of us in different places on this earth. And just begin to hold that awareness of us not in the same room and at the same time. We are in this space together. And when you're ready, you can begin to open your eyes and continue to play with this awareness of your breath and awareness of our community this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge our subtle sacrament ministers, those that are intentionally working with our sacrament. As we move into our litany of gratitude, I invite you to unmute your mics and join me when I say, we live in all things live in us. We live by the sun, we feel by the moon, we move by the stars. We live in all things,
all things live in us.
We eat from the earth, we drink from the rain, we breathe of the air. We live in
all things. All things live in us.
We call to each other, we listen to each other, Our hearts deepen with love and compassion.
We live in all things. All things live in us.
We depend on the trees and animals. We depend on the earth. Our minds open with wisdom and insight.
We live in all things. All things live in us.
We dedicate our practice to others. We include all forms of life. We celebrate the joy of living and dying.
We live in all things. All things live in us.
We are full of life. We are full of death. We are grateful for all beings and companions.
In all things and all things live in us.
Thank you, everyone. If you would, please resume your mute. For our reading today, we're going to step away from our current text briefly to read from one that aligns more with the topic of today's service, the impact that Psanctuary is having on its members and the community at large. We have chosen to read from David Hawkins' Power versus Force, the Hidden Determinants of Human Behavior. Psanctuary stands on the principles of power. We do not need to use force to affect the changes we desire. And I invite Stephen to help us with our first reading.
Good morning, everyone. This selection is from Chapter 8, The Source of Power. Power has to do with motive, and it has to do with principle. Power is always associated with that which supports the significance of life itself. It appeals to that in human nature, which we call noble, in contrast to force, which appeals to what we call crass. Power appeals to that which uplifts, dignifies, and ennobles. Force must always be justified, whereas power requires no justification. Force is associated with the partial, power with the whole. Force always succumbs to power because it automatically creates counterforce. Its effect is limited by definition. We could say that force is movement. It goes from here to there. Power, on the other hand, stands still. It is like gravity, a standing field that does not move against anything, but its power moves all objects within its field. Because force has an insatiable appetite, it constantly consumes. Power, in contrast, energizes and supports. Power gives life and energy. Force takes these away. The effect of force is to polarize rather than unify. Polarization always causes conflict, and therefore its cost is always high. Force inevitably produces a win-lose dichotomy, and because someone always loses, an enemy is always created. Therefore, force requires constant defense. The sources of power are self-evident and are not arguable. That honor is preferable to dishonor, that faith and trust are preferable to doubt and criticism are all self-evident. Ultimately, the only thing we can say about a source of power is that it just is. Every community is characterized by its native principles. If these principles are noble, it succeeds. If they are selfish, it falls. If we examine principles, we will see that they reside in an invisible realm with consciousness itself. Joy, nobility of purpose, improved quality of life, all such things are considered inspirational, giving life significance. But what actually inspires us in the physical world are things that symbolize concepts with powerful meanings to us. Such symbols realign our motives with principles. A symbol, like sanctuary, can marshal great power because of the principles that already reside within our own consciousness.
Thank you, Stephen. Now take a moment to reflect on this reading. If you have your journal and pen nearby, we invite you to write a little bit with the journal prompts we've provided. In what areas of your life do you stand in your power? Where do you apply force? Which method seems to have greater impact? We'll come back together in just a moment. Would like to begin finishing up your thoughts. We'll begin moving into our second reading today. The paradoxical nature of life and its mysteries are best experienced through the ineffable space we find in our communion with the mushroom. For more than 2,000 years, the Tao Te Ching has provided guidance and instruction for exploring the paradox of existence. It is for this reason that we employ the Tao Te Ching as our primary sacred text and invite all to study it further as you delve deeper into the mystery of life. I invite Connor to help us with our next reading.
This is chapter 39. From of old, there are not lacking things that have attained oneness. The sky attained oneness and became clear. The earth attained oneness and became calm. The spirits attained oneness and became charged with mystical powers. The fountains attained oneness and became full. The 10,000 creatures attained oneness and became reproductive. Leaders attained oneness and became sovereign rulers of the world. All of them are what they are by virtue of oneness. If the sky were not clear, it would likely fall to pieces. If the earth were not calm, it would likely burst into bits. If the spirits were not charged with mystical powers, they would likely cease from being. If the fountains were not full, they would be likely to dry up. If the 10,000 creatures were not reproductive, they would be likely to come to extinction. If leaders were not the sovereign rulers, they would be likely to stumble and fall. Truly, humility is the root from which greatness springs, and the high must be built upon the foundation of the low. That is why leaders style themselves the helpless one, the little one, and the worthless one.
Thank you, Connor. We'll now begin moving into closing our service portion. Amy, would you like to help us with announcement?
I'm going to take the announcements this morning.
Courtney.
Yeah, thanks, Athena. Hey, everyone. Thanks for being here on this special Sunday morning. This week, we have 4 virtual workshops. Those include Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, Internal Family Systems with Deborah. Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Meet Your Power Music Workshop with Bill. Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Psilocybin and Sobriety, in quotation marks, with Christina and Honor. Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern, Psanctuary Book Club with Susan. Currently, our virtual workshops are led by members, for members only. However, do stay tuned as we move towards a more inclusive virtual workshop schedule where we will be opening access to community members as well. So just stay tuned for that. Those virtual workshops for this week will be members only, but stay tuned for more info on opening them up. This Wednesday, I will be leading an in-person Women's Sacred Circle from 6 to 8 p.m. at Clifton Universalist Unitarian on Payne Street. This is the last Women's Circle of summer, and I'm looking forward to facilitating a Tree of Life meditation, followed by the One Time and Praise authentic relating activities. For those attending, you may also pre-order a mug of warm ashwagandha moo milk, perfect to ground and nourish ourselves after a powerful circle. If you didn't know, we have these women's circles on the 4th Wednesday of every single month. They're open to members and non-members alike. So please do register. It helps a lot if we know who's coming. You can register on the events calendar on sanctuary.org. For more women's program offerings, applications are open for our new 8-week virtual Women's Circle and Subtle Sacrament program beginning during autumn equinox time. This opportunity is open for women who've been sanctuary members for 4 weeks or more by the program start date of September 25th. We'll come together for weekly women's circles via Zoom, facilitated by myself. We'll touch base throughout the week in an online video chat room via Marco Polo, and we'll learn the fundamentals of sanctuaries new and improved subtle sacrament communion practice with support from each other. Sacrament can also be requested by the church for the duration of this program. You can find all the info in the application page by going to psanctuary.org. On the menu, there's a drop down. You can see our minister program page, and there you'll find more info on the women's program and all of our minister programs that we offer. Last but not least, please do stay tuned for a very special presentation, as Athena mentioned at the beginning of the service, where we'll be presenting our State of Sanctuary annual review with directors, myself, Eric, and Amy. We'll be celebrating our journey with our community thus far and our vision of the future that we're building together as a community with Sanctuary. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. Fundraising, James.
Hey everybody, no big fundraising news. Not asking for your money this week, but really thrilled to see just so many community events going on. I had the privilege to jump into the integration event led this week by Julie and Christine, which was amazing. I think I would encourage everybody, again, follow each other's social media, share each other's things. You have no idea what 30 people who consistently like and share something does to the discoverability of something that somebody's posted. So I know we have a lot of people in here that do have their presences. Obviously, Psanctuary does as well, as does Psilocybin Says. That has a massive impact on discoverability for Psanctuary and our ability to reach the people we're trying to reach. So thanks again.
Thank you. Stephen with membership.
Hello again. We have 6 new members to announce this week. We have Alex from Kentucky, Amanda from Oregon, Kenneth from South Carolina, Eric from Kentucky, Jeremy from California, and Susan from Kentucky. So welcome, everyone.
Yes, welcome. And if you are curious about our membership and haven't taken that step yet, you can find more information on our website, psanctuary.org, and our 5-step membership onboarding process. All right, we've come together with intentions of service to the land and all its inhabitants. It is in our hearts to go forth into the world with a collective consciousness. We encourage you to stay for continued fellowship and conversation around our readings today. And for those unable to stay, we thank you for being with us. As we further our conversation, please remember that all perspectives are welcome as we search for the spiritual truth that unites us all. Much love to everyone.